Black Americans, you need to pick Tiwa Savage. Auntie Tiwa is begging for your love and attention and affection, and she is asking you. Matter of fact, she is on her knees wanting you to accept her into your community, because that is the only explanation I have for her thinking that she can speak on behalf of Tyla and apologize on her behalf.
Oh, so fabulous.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel once again. It's your girl Dumebi. If this is your first time coming across my channel, you're welcome to the channel. I hope you decide to subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, it's so good to have you here. Welcome back once again. You guys know that I love you. It's so good to be back. I took a little break. I never knew that I was going to take a break. I just fell sick. The whole family had flu and all of that, and after that I needed like a week or two to get myself back into work mode. So I'm here again, and today we have a hot topic that has been sparking a lot of discussion within the diaspora, especially among continental Africans and African Americans as well. And it's about Tyla. As you guys already saw in the title. Like, I know this whole Tyla thing at this point, some people are sick and tired of it, but recently a Nigerian artist, one of Nigeria's very popular, biggest female Afro pop star, went on the Breakfast Club where she had an interview. I think she's promoting new music, and then she went for that interview at the Breakfast Club, and somehow the issue of Tyla came up again. And the way this artist Tiwa Savage, who I personally love, I love Tiwa Savage, the way she responded to the question about Tyla has caused a lot of backlash. You know, let's just go right ahead and play the video that sums it all up.
Tiwa Savage was here on the Breakfast Club, and we talked to her a bit about Tyla and the colored conversation, which a lot of that unfolded here when Tyla was here and did not want to answer Charlamagne's question on her identity. Now, Tiwa answered our question. Let's take a listen to Tiwa Savage, because people are really upset, including Tyla herself, about her answer. Let's take a listen.
I feel like two truths can be real at the same time. I don't really know what the first thing she said was that sparked the whole conversation, but I do know that from where she's from, she's, you know, she was, I think she doesn't consider, they don't call her black.
They call her colored.
Colored because she's mixed. And I get why that would be such a huge thing here because of, I mean, the history behind that name, you know. I don't know. I think I felt for her a little bit because I feel like she's young and I don't think she means to come across like that. But, where I'm from, when something like this happens, like they say the elder will come and say, on behalf of such and such, we apologize. You know, that's what I feel like. If that wasn't communicated, I would like to say, you know, like on behalf of her or whatever, like we apologize, like, you know, we didn't mean it, forgive us.
I don't see anything wrong with what she said. I think she was standing up for her. Like she said, she's young. Tyla is young, and she probably didn't, honestly, not saying didn't know how to answer the question, but it's different. American culture is very different from where they're from. She's from Johannesburg, South Africa, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, you know. But Tiwa's from Nigeria, so a lot of people's upset, and we're gonna get to Tyla because Tyla, even though she hasn't said I'm upset, she was on the global citizen stage and she took a shot back at the apology.
She said, sorry, not sorry. That's not in the original song?
No, the song doesn't say sorry, not sorry. And actually the lyrics are about, I mean, she talks about a lot in the lyrics, but some of the lyrics speak to people wanting to know who is she and what is she. And she's saying it's none of your concern. So from that, I reached out to Tiwa Savage's team because I'm wondering, have they spoken? What's going on? I talked to a representative for Tiwa Savage who tells me that Tiwa's intention was never to speak for others, but to approach the question she was asked with empathy. And I think, you know, adding context to it, like you said, Jess, I think she just thought, I'm gonna be big homie, big sis in this situation and like say maybe she didn't understand or you guys don't understand her.
Okay, so guys, that's a brief summary of everything that happened. So Tiwa went on the Breakfast Club, they brought up the Tyla issue, and Tiwa basically expressed the way she felt about it. And if you ask me, I think it came from a good place, but I understand why people say she was overstepping. I think she didn't need to speak on that. As a matter of fact, why did they bring up Tyla's issue with Tiwa? Tiwa is not from South Africa. Tiwa doesn't have any relationship with Tyla that we know of. That I was okay, maybe that's why they were asking Tiwa. They don't have a relationship. They've not done a song together. Like, where did it come from? Okay, it doesn't make sense. And I think Tyler keeps coming up somehow on the Breakfast Club from time to time. And people are saying, like, at this point, is giving obsessed. So what Tiwa said obviously made a lot of people angry, which I understand, because I'm like, okay, you are apologizing. Did Tyler particularly do anything wrong by saying she's colored? But from, if you were to ask me, I'd say Tiwa was apologizing for the drama it caused, not necessarily like Tyler's identity is wrong. But that's just me saying, maybe it's just because I'm biased. I love Tiwa, but I actually don't think it was from a bad place. So now, when Tyler was performing, she said, sorry, not sorry, obviously saying that sorry you went and told those people on the Breakfast Club is not for me. I am not sorry. I am unapologetically colored. That's the way a lot of people interpreted it, because that performance happened shortly after the Tiwa interview on the Breakfast Club, right? And then you can see, like, at the end, the people on the Breakfast Club talked about how they reached out to Tiwa's team, and Tiwa clarified that she didn't mean any harm. And I think Tiwa was actually just trying to speak for her fellow, like, African sister. Now, this thing has gotten a lot of people talking, and the general sentiment from a lot of continental Africans is that Tiwa went there being a pick-me, kissing the ass of African Americans, because why are you apologizing? So they feel like Tiwa saying that is giving African Americans the fuel to erase Tyler's identity as a colored woman, I think, generally. So this backlash is not just from South Africans. Of course, South Africans will feel a certain way, but a lot of other people in the diaspora also talked about it. So let me just go ahead and play some of the commentary on this situation, and then I will let you guys know what I think.
And this is exactly why I'm annoyed. Because no one made her our spokesperson. And if she wants to twirl for Donald's kids, she must do that on her own terms. But she mustn't involve us. We don't apologize for anything. We are unapologetic and we are taking up space. And for someone who tweeted in 2019 that she's not going to come here because we are slaughtering her brothers and sisters, so she won't be coming to...
As a matter of fact, in 2019, there was the whole xenophobic thing that was happening in South Africa, where some South Africans who don't like other black people in their country actually started attacking Nigerians. A lot of lives were lost. So I think Tiwa, in the heat of the moment, tweeted that she was never going to go to South Africa. So I think that's what she was referencing there.
To DSTV Delicious. If you're not going to come here, what makes you think you can comment on what's going on in our country? Our country. Africa is not... No. South Africa. You have no idea what's going on here, so what makes you think that you can speak on our behalf? We're not apologizing for anything. Tyler doesn't have to apologize for anything, and the Breakfast Club needs to stop being weird. This thing that they keep bringing Tyler up, it's becoming weird. It's getting weird, okay? She's a South African colored woman, and she's proud of her heritage and who she is, and we are not going to apologize for taking up space. So again, Auntie Tiwa, asseblief, nah, don't do that. Please, you can ask Burna Boy how we blue ticked him. We don't have time for that.
We didn't mean it. Forgive us.
Auntie Tiwa, the only time you can speak on behalf of someone is if they give you permission. And I do not think that Tyler hit you up and said, Auntie Tiwa, please, can you apologize to the Black American community when you're in the Breakfast Club? I don't think Tyler did that. Matter of fact, I think that you did this on your own accord, right? And you brought out African culture to say in African culture, the elders can speak up for the youth. Yeah, but they require jurisdiction and authority. That is required. Right? Not every elder can speak on my behalf. Not every elder can speak on any youth's behalf. It requires jurisdiction and authority. Things which you do not have. But please prove me wrong and show me a conversation between you and Tyler.
Now, speaking of Tiwa Savage, as a matter of fact, Tiwa Savage left Nigeria when she was quite young, went to the UK and went to the US where she lived for a while. So when it comes to like the African American culture and maybe the way they interpret things and stuff, I think she has a better knowledge than some of us who have been in Africa and have not lived in the US. So I think that was why she understood, like from the African American perspective, the way the word colored was received. And maybe that was what pushed her to say what she said. Yeah, I just had to put that out there.
Guys, balance me a little bit. What stopped Tiwa Savage from saying, I cannot comment on the race politics of a country I'm not from? Instead of her opening her mouth and apologizing for Tyla about something that didn't need apologizing for. Also, the Breakfast Club, why are they so obsessed with our girl? It's getting scary.
Why the hell is Tiwa Savage on the Breakfast Club apologizing for Tyla like she did anything wrong? Who told you to get your ass up there in your interview to talk about Tyla? Like, why did you answer their question? You should have been on your humble auntie tip and was like, next question. That's what you should have done. But now you've gone up there, made yourself look like a fool, reinforced their xenophobia to be like, yeah, we're right in what we were saying about Tyla. That was a moment for you to educate Black Americans about ethnicity in South Africa. That was your moment to educate Black Americans about ethnicity in Nigeria. But no, you opted for the easy way out and apologized on behalf of Tyla. You have just undid all of that work we have been doing to educate these people, to make them realize that they are not the only Black people on earth. To make them realize that there are other cultures that come out of this colonial cesspit and that we also have a right to refer to ourselves as whatever we deem necessary. Tiwa, if you're going to be in South African business, you need to come harder than this and you need to represent, okay? If you are not going to do that and stand strong as an African woman in your values and your morals, step to the side so somebody else can do it. It's so disappointing to see African celebrities sometimes cave into the status quo or, oh, because we want peace, we don't want headache or we want peace. So you know what? Sorry.
What was that accent?
No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And I'm very disappointed in Tiwa. Very disappointed.
In this life, before you do something for someone or do something on behalf of someone, you have to really ask yourself the fundamental question of who asked me, who sent me, who give me work. Because that is how you go and do, and before you know, you end up in embarrassment. Embarrassment that could be taken as unnecessary because why are you there? Why are you in that conversation? I need African artists. I was going to say Nigerian, but I need African artists as a whole to stop going on that Breakfast Club podcast. Yeah, that particular one that fueled the hate that Tyla has been getting from the Black American community by asking her that question about being colored, about being Black. Very unnecessary question. Very unnecessary question. But one thing I have realized, even from recent interviews when it comes to that particular podcast, is that when they interview a lot of African artists, not Black American, African artists, the way their questions are lined up and the way the conversation goes is mostly for them trying to fish for some compliments towards the Black American community. It's mostly them trying to get the African artists that they're interviewing to admit to a particular extent that their success or the numbers that they're making is as a result of them advertising or selling to the Black American community. And I've noticed, because I have watched a couple of their interviews, I have noticed that they do this to only African artists. And I don't even want to try and unpack the psychology behind that, to be very honest. It's not my business. My own is, I need African artists to stop going on that podcast. And if they are going to go, maybe some media training is very much involved. To be very honest, I think the younger artists of this generation are more media trained than the older one. I don't trust a lot of older people, especially a lot of older creatives, especially a lot of older artists. So many older people, older artists engage in a lot of respectability politics. This need to be liked by the public. This need to be accepted. And of course, this is not me trying to say that younger artists are actually going out to be unlikable. But they're not going to put in their hard work and then come on platforms trying to make them cower, trying to make them doormats, trying to walk all over them just because you enjoy their art or their work. No. With that being said, don't apologize on behalf of anyone. That is why I trust my babe, Ira Star. You will not see Ira going on an interview and you're asking her questions about another art, and she will answer that question knowing fully well that it is not a positive question. If you pass, whose music do you like, who do you want to work with? My girl does not know. Her hand is constantly like this. I really want a lot of you out there to know that it is really okay for you as a musical artist to go on an interview and be asked the question and say, I don't want to answer that, or say, I don't have the answer to that. Because if you were on an interview and you were asked why Tyla said what she said and you did not understand how to answer that question, the simple thing you could have opened your mouth to say is, I think you should ask her when you see her, or when next you have her on an interview here, you can ask her. Or I really don't know about that situation and I would rather not answer. These are answers that you can give, not forgive her, you know she's young.
Hey, that was a read. Ah, Tiwa.
Since Miss Savage likes to give apologies on the behalf of people, I am going to give an apology on her behalf, because even though it was out of good intent, I don't think she was trying to be funny or malicious in any way, but it was not her place to speak on Tyla and her wordings and the South African culture. Tiwa, you did not grow up in South Africa. You don't know what it means to be a colored person in South Africa. I don't know why the Breakfast Club is obsessed with Tyla and that interview. I guess because she didn't answer a lot of their questions, they're taking it very personal. But you are not a spokesperson for Tyla. You are not a part of Tyla's management. You cannot apologize for her when she did not apologize. She never gave any inkling as to her ever apologizing. If that is her beliefs, if this is her culture and this is how she grew up, it has nothing to do with you. So when they brought that question to you, all you had to do was say skip, or I know nothing about that, or I don't know Tyla, I can't speak for Tyla. It's very simple. The interview is about you and not about Tyla. And the Breakfast Club, they need to stop asking every African female that comes up there about Tyla. If you really want to hear from Tyla, or you feel like Tyla owes people an apology, which she shouldn't, which she doesn't, it's where she grew up. You guys are taking this colored thing too personal. What colored means in America is not what colored means in South Africa. You guys need to let it go. Breakfast Club, let it go.
And while I'm on the topic, and while it's on my mind, I'm really tired of y'all dragging Tyla's race into every conversation. I've seen that thing on the Breakfast Club, and I've seen that thing, is she a Nigerian artist, singer? I don't know who she is. I don't even know her name, to be honest. But the fact that they had a West African person talk about South African issues, South African race specifically, is beyond me. And then she tried to apologize on behalf, like as if all Africans are the same, as if all races are the same, as if all classifications are the same. Let Tyla be Tyla. She ain't never said we had to call her colored. She ain't never said that she was going to refer to nobody as colored. She just said where she's from, she's colored. That should be it. I don't understand why we keep pushing it as if it's an issue. Leave it alone. That's all you gotta do. We don't have to keep going through this. Let the girl be great. It's that simple. That her or whatever, like, we apologize. Like,
Auntie Tiwa, why would you do this? Why would you go to Mr. Media? Why would you embarrass yourself like this, Auntie Tiwa? Auntie Tiwa, you remember that one song you did with Awilo Longomba? Isopio? Because what you're doing right now, Isopio. Isopio, my babe. Your entire verse is about yourself, Auntie Tiwa.
Everywhere you go, you can walk to the
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a video to finish. I'm sorry. The Congolese in me got the best of me. But you see what I mean? That's your own song. No, Auntie Tiwa, no. Tyla does not need to apologize. Tyla will never apologize. And Tyla fans will never apologize for Tyla. Tyla did absolutely nothing wrong. And speaking of Tyla, that EP that flopped, 100 million streams. Tyla is featured in Cardi B's album. Tyla is doing just fine. For my non-Congolese people, Isopio is slang in Lingala, okay? Isopio literally means you look as stupid as water spilling out of a falling bucket. You see how water goes all over the place when a bucket is falling, right? That's how you look. You look stupid. On behalf of every single African with dignity, we do not care about her apology.
Okay, so this whole Tyla thing and, African Americans, there was a video I was supposed to do, but I couldn't meet up with that video. That was when Tyla's EP flopped, in quotes, because it had less than 4,000 streams, something like that. And then some Black Americans actually came out to brag about how they boycotted Tyla because she thinks she's better than them, and that is why her EP was flopping.
It does not surprise me that Tyla's album flopped, because who do you think that you are coming to America and thinking you don't have to go through Black women?
For the life of me, I don't understand when you Africans, South Africans, North Africans, East, West, Nigerian, Ivory Coast, whatever. I don't know when you guys are going to learn. I don't know. But you're going to learn how Tyla's going to learn. You're going to learn, you're going to learn to respect the Black American culture.
There might be many other reasons why she had just those 4,000 views. It might not necessarily have been because of a boycott.
It's been giving me secondhand embarrassment watching y'all come on here talking about Tyla, saying how the reason her album didn't do well because she disrespected Black Americans. That's not. y'all be overinflating yourselves too much. Like, as much as we get disrespected in our own country, what make you think all of a sudden we not have the power to? That was not the reason. I think it has more so to do with her work ethic and her attitude that comes with her work ethic.
Unpopular opinion, but a lot of people are saying that Tyla did not sell. She only sold like 3,000 and some change copies in her first week because of how she treated black people. I'll be honest with you, I don't think it has anything to do with that, because y'all are still listening to Chris Brown, who's an abuser. You guys are still running up R. Kelly music. You're running up the music of like real abusers in this country. I think that she just had bad marketing, because I don't know a single song that's out by Tyla right now. Like, I know stuff off of her first project, but her team did not do a great job of marketing her album.
Why is everybody trying to think piece why Tyla only sold 3.7 copies? People are like, oh, it's because she's colored. It's because black Americans don't support her. Who are we kidding? Did nobody know the album was coming out? It's a surprise EP with only 4 songs on it, and none of them are hits. Name a Tyla song that ain't water. Name a Tyla. I mean, I'm sure some of you can, but that's my point.
But of course, the people who didn't like Tyla were very happy to take credit for it. And what I really think about that Breakfast Club interview with Tyla, this particular one.
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not? Por favor.
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview too. I like when they talk from the back.
I think this was really the nail in the coffin, where people who couldn't really decide if they liked Tyla or not just decided they didn't like Tyla, because they felt like, okay, you came on a platform, one of the biggest platforms, where you can actually talk to the African American people who you expect to support your music, right? Where you can actually talk to us, connect with us. And of course, one of the pressing issues has always been about her racial classification. And of course, the question came up. And the fact that she refused to answer the question made it look like, oh, she's being dismissive. She feels like she's too big. And a lot of African Americans already have the impression, a lot of them feel that colored people, like because of the racial classification in South Africa, that it goes white, colored, Indian, and then black at the bottom. So the fact that Tyla is a colored woman, she feels she's better than black people. That is the way a lot of African Americans think.
Tyla's Breakfast Club interview told me everything that I need to know about her and her team and what her goals were. In South Africa, colored is a racial class, and it's a step above being black for them. Tyla does not want to be called black because to her, it would be a downgrade. Now, she came into the American market thinking that was going to fly. It didn't.
When you said you are colored and you're not black, we know you are trying to say that you're closer to white than you are to black and that you are better than us. When we try to say that, we won. You were like, no, I'm not like you people.
So they also feel like Tyla is not likable.
I think Tyla's just not likable in general.
I thought you guys liked that Is It song.
I could like your music and really not. That Mr. Media that she dropped is actually hard as but she's not likable. Everybody had their eyes on Tyla. She's just not likable. And she has a nasty attitude.
Well, I don't like her.
Oh, I just don't like the entitlement thing.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, like, I get all this.
What makes you think people want to listen to you if you're being like a stank, mean girl vibes? Like, it never gave that. And it's like, girl, you literally just came in the game. You don't have the status to give Mariah Carey, Nicki Minaj energy. Like, no, it's not giving that. And then when she was at the Breakfast Club interview and she kept having her publicist or whoever like, oh, you can't ask her that, you can't ask her that. Girl, you literally just came out. Literally, you are not Mariah Carey, Beyonce, freaking Nicki Minaj, where you get to curate what questions people ask you. Like, no, if you don't want to answer it, then you can say like no comment or like keep quiet. But like, you can't just be like pointing at your publicist like girl, you ain't no diva.
Then also remember that time with the award where she didn't want to hold her award and she gave it to Lil Nas and people were saying she was giving it to Halle Bailey and all of that. And then the one time where Usher was trying to dance on her and she was moving away, they felt it was disrespectful. So I think there was just these different things that had happened. And then that Breakfast Club interview seemed to be like the nail on the coffin, right? And what do I really think? I think I understand both sides. I understand the fact that Tyla is who she is. She is colored. And I don't think any African American should be offended by the fact that she says she's colored. She is what she is. Race is different in different parts of the world. The African Americans will group her under black because of the one drop rule. In South Africa, the one drop rule did not apply, just like Trevor Noah explained.
In South Africa, because you had a situation where 6% of the population was in power, and they were trying to control the remaining 94%. How do you go about doing that? That's a Herculean task. In America, you had the one drop rule. So if you were a person who had a drop of black blood in you, you were black. In South Africa, they couldn't allow the same metric because that meant you would now be a black person who is added to the majority, and the majority increasing was not something they wanted. So instead, what they set out to do was, they said if you were a person who was black, and then you were also half white, they would then recategorize you as a new race, and that race they called colored.
Trevor Noah had taken time to explain this, and I think they kind of expected the same thing from Tyla. Like, okay, this is a teachable moment. Actually explain, you are on a black platform right now. You have the opportunity to really explain this to us. And I think at that point, Tyla was probably over it because Tyla has spoken about this color thing before, like in this other video.
In South Africa, my race is called colored. And it's a very stressful term to use in America because I know it's a derogatory term. Right. But I mean, that's what we are called.
But now, I really think she should have answered that question in that Breakfast Club interview, even though her team had told them that they didn't want so and so questions asked. And that color thing was part of the questions they said they didn't want asked. But Charlemagne made it clear that he tells people when they are coming to his platform, like, I'm going to ask these questions regardless. So it's either you prepare to answer them or you don't show up. So the fact that Tyla still came for the interview, they knew the question was still going to be asked. And I think she should have prepared accordingly to answer, you know, because I don't think she had been on that platform actually, you know, addressing that issue before. And why I feel she could have answered is because I know Tyla has addressed this. I don't think Tyla has as much of a problem addressing it, because after she left that Breakfast Club interview, she had to do damage control by dropping a whole statement. You know, and let me just read the statement. She said, I never denied my blackness. I don't know where that came from. I'm mixed with black, Zulu, Irish, Mauritanian, Indian, and colored. In South Africa, I would be classified as a colored woman, and in other places, I would be classified as a black woman. Race is classified differently in different parts of the world. I don't expect to be identified as colored outside of South Africa by anyone not comfortable doing so, because I understand the weight of that word outside of South Africa. But to close this conversation, I am both colored in South Africa and a black woman. As a woman for the culture, it is and not or. With that being said, Asambi, when I saw this, I was like, this was the perfect response. Like, why did she not say this on the Breakfast Club? And then there was another interview she did with, I think, British Vogue or something, where she also addressed the whole color thing.
So Tyla was here at the Breakfast Club, and she was asked the question about how she identifies as a black woman or not.
Gotcha.
She recently brought this back up when she was speaking to British Vogue. In context, like, and she was talking about, you know, just her career and representing where she's from, and, you know, just how she's been handling all of that, and what representation is like for her, and why she doesn't feel the pressure to do so anymore. And they brought up the interview. They said that the interview basically like made the matter kind of worse. And they asked her, you know, why didn't she answer? And she says, you know, me choosing not to say anything, I'm happy that I didn't. I didn't want to explain my culture and something that is really important to me on a platform that is just going to be purposefully misconstrued. I've explained it a lot of times before, but people took that and put words in my mouth. They said a whole bunch of things that I never said and ran with it. If people really search, they'll see that in South Africa, we had a lot of segregation. It was bad for a lot of us. They just classified us, and that's just so happens to be the name that the white people called us. They chose to call people that were mixed colored. And I'm not going to lie, it was hard because all my life, obviously I knew I'm black, but I also knew that I'm colored. So when I went to America and people were like, you can't say that, I was in a position where I was like, oh, so what do I do? What am I then? She could have said that here.
She could have said that here. Yeah.
So I'm like, obviously she doesn't have a problem addressing the color thing. So why did she not do that on the Breakfast Club? You know, it actually looked like she just dismissed it, and that is where the problem is, if you ask me, you know, because I'm like, if you're going to address it by coming out to do damage control and dropping the whole statement, you might have as well just, you know, addressed it. So I don't blame Tyla. Tyla is still new in the industry. She's still learning things and all of that. There are some things that with experience, with time and experience, you know how to handle better, with better media training. I think this was like a fault on the part of her team. I think they should have, you know, prepared her to answer that question. From another angle, I think there was a video that I watched by an African American that made me understand why there's such a pushback on the color thing, because African Americans are still fighting to stay respected and treated like human beings with rights like every other person in America. So using the word colored takes them back to the time of segregation when they were referred to as colored, and we know how they were treated during that time. So it is very easy for the word color to creep back into the US, and once the people who were using that word as an oppressive term against black people they get too comfortable with the word colored, who knows what happens. So there is a serious pushback. You know, like, okay, over here, you're not colored, you are black. And according to their one drop rule, Tyla will fit in as black. And I think that was what they expected Tyla to say, which she said in this statement that she doesn't expect to be identified as colored out of the USA. And I think if she had simply just said that on the Breakfast Club interview, it would have been fine. And then I need to address the fact that I actually think there's a lot of tension between South Africans and African Americans, because you guys know I cover some of the diaspora wars on this channel. There's been quite some diaspora wars between, you know, the two groups. So I think because of that, both parties are not giving each other as much grace as I think they should. It kind of reflected in the way this Tyla thing was handled. South African people really rode hard for her. They were out here saying Tyla is colored, not black. But in her statement, Tyla here is saying, I never denied my blackness, right? So I think the fans played a role as well in some of the dislike that Tyla started getting from African Americans.
Two things ruined Tyla's debut. Number one, her fan base in South Africa. Number two, kind of the reputation South Africans have right now. One day, when y'all are ready, we're gonna sit and we're gonna have a conversation and we're gonna talk about how Tyla's South African fans are the sole reason why Americans do not like Tyla.
But the truth is, I think Tyla at this point is booked and busy. If you ask me, Tyla didn't do anything wrong. I think her team could have done better.
I know that Tyla hate is forced because I know that Tyla has called herself black before. Tyla has literally made a post talking about how she's black and how she has not ignored her blackness, but y'all don't actually care about that post, y'all. Y'all have been making fake scenarios about Tyla. Y'all have been using comments from South African netizens and acting like that's Tyla, and it's not Tyla at all. If I didn't know Tyla as well as I do, I would have thought that she said something super disrespectful towards black Americans. You would have thought that she said that, oh, black Americans are uncultured, they're stupid, they're idiots. She never actually said that.
Well, I think if you're coming into a culture, a country that is different from yours, and of course you have music to sell, you expect these people to listen to your music and all of that. They are supposed to be your fans. I think you have to appeal to their culture somehow, because like even some of the Nigerian artists that were born and bred abroad or lived abroad, when they came back to Nigeria to do music, they had to try and drop some of that accent. They had to try and put in some Nigerian language and slangs into their songs. They had to show some of that African culture that they probably were not exhibiting when they were outside the country. A lot of them come back and they have to assimilate themselves into the culture. So I don't think it is bad if African Americans expected some kind of assimilation, to feel relatable, to feel like she's one of us, if they expected that from Tyla. But of course, you can't expect her to claim colored in South Africa and come to America and claim black. Yes, that is how she'll be classified there. But she can't come out and say, I'm a black woman, because what does that say to the people back home? Oh, so when you go to America, you're black, but when you come here, you don't expect her to actually say that, right? So I think she was just in a tight spot, and it's just unfortunate that this whole thing unfolded like this. Yes, there are some xenophobic African Americans that took that opportunity to, you know, hate on Tyla. But when you think about on a large scale, I don't think it was mostly xenophobia. I think it was just a miscommunication. It was just a PR mistake. I don't know if I'll call it a mistake, but I think things could have been handled better. And it's unfortunate that Tiwa got roped into this whole thing. Tiwa should not have said anything. She shouldn't have answered. She shouldn't have apologized. I don't think Tyla actually owes an apology, because she has actually explained this whole thing a lot of times. And there's nothing wrong in her claiming her identity. You know, it's just, that's the funny thing. The irony is Tiwa went there for an interview, but nobody even knows what she went there to talk about. Nobody's talking about what Tiwa went there for. Everybody's just talking about the Tyla apology, and it's just sad. Anyway, I want you guys to let me know what you think. What do you think about the Tyla situation and her relationship with African Americans? And what do you guys think about Tiwa Savage sticking her nose in this business that she had no business sticking her nose into? Let me know. You guys, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.